A very warm welcome to everyone gathered here today, including Executive Chairman of GFG, Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, wife Nicola, and the kids, Jay, Harry and Maya, as well as Nicola's parents who've come out from London. I think they're the furthest to come out for this announcement. So to Tony and Barbara, welcome and good to see you here. Also, absolutely delighted that Premier Stephen Marshall can join us today. Steve, a very big day for you, so Premier, appreciate you taking the time. Where's Georgie? Georgie's here as well. She's hiding at the back, but she has already bought her pink Port Adelaide cap, which I think is going to be a great seller in the Port store in the near future. Also joining us today, David Ridgway, MLC Minister for Trade, Tourism, Investment. David, thank you for taking the time. AFL's General Manager, Inclusion and Social Policy, Tanya Hosh. The Susan Close MP. Mayor of Whyalla City Council, Claire McLaughlin and guest Greg. Chief Executive of Whyalla City Council, Chris Cowley. The Mayor of Port Adelaide Enfield Council, Claire Bone and family. Port Adelaide Club ambassadors, Port Adelaide Club partners, our patron Sir Eric Neal, good to see you here Sir Eric, and sons Peter and James, and also importantly our new two Port Adelaide directors in terms of Gavin Wangadine and Darren Cale. A very big welcome to you for first official function as directors. What a significant day this is for the Port Adelaide Football Club, a day where we formally welcome to the Port Adelaide family Sanjeev and his family, and of course the entire community of GFG. It's an honour to partner such a successful organisation boasting a global presence in more than 30 countries and employ more than 11,000 people worldwide across its various platforms, including industry, resources, financial services and property development. Moreover, we're thrilled to partner with GFG, whose values and vision certainly align with ours here at the club. The club's been in discussions with Sanjeev and his team for quite a few months, and it's clear that GFG's global success has been built on blue-collar values of getting down to hard work with plenty of grit and determination, and this attitude is very appealing to us, a club based here in Port Adelaide with a working class philosophy at its core. Like Port Adelaide, GFG isn't afraid to challenge the status quo and have a clear vision for the future. What was also clear to us is their willingness to innovate, adapt and evolve in the quest for sustainability. It's no different to our philosophy here at Port Adelaide. In 2017, we were voted as the 11th most innovative sporting club in the world by the prestigious London-based Sports Business magazine for our groundbreaking China strategy. We even, behind us in that list was Facebook. We exist to innovate here at Port Adelaide, and we're inspired by GFG's drive to succeed and create a legacy for future generations. But above all, we love how GFG exists for their people, their family and their community. These values have been intrinsically linked in our DNA since 1870, 149 years ago. We too are a family club built on the foundations of this, our local community. We simply don't exist without our people and our community. Just look around today, this is community. Men, women, boys, girls, all ages, different backgrounds, multiple generations in the one family to celebrate such a big event. This is Port Adelaide, this is GFG, and this is what makes our partnership feel so right. Of course, Sanjeev and GFG are well known here in South Australia. It's been well documented that Sanjeev and GFG have achieved what they've achieved in Whyalla, and his commitment to contribute to that community for their growth alongside the industry. We congratulate Sanjeev for his vision and confidence in Whyalla. But at Port Adelaide, we're a little biased because Whyalla and the Eyre Peninsula have been part of our footy club for many, many years, in fact, many decades. After all, this is part of our regional heartland. The Eyre Peninsula has been a major breeding ground for our club since the 1970s, and our membership base is very strong in Whyalla and surrounding areas. In partnership with GFG, we will increase our engagement across the Eyre Peninsula to new levels. Next week, we'll take our entire playing group and coaches for a community camp in Whyalla. Moreover, we're in discussions with the AFL to host a JLT pre-season game in Whyalla next year as part of our 150th anniversary for the club. As we've always maintained, for every step forward our club takes on the global stage through our groundbreaking China strategy, we will double down on our heartland, with Whyalla and the Eyre Peninsula forming an intrinsic part of this heartland now. In conclusion, on behalf of Port Adelaide and our entire community, we're thrilled to welcome Sanjeev, Nicola and the kids and the entire GFG Alliance as part of this new long-term 5-year commitment underpinned by shared values and vision. We're very grateful that Sanjeev shares the same confidence in us here at Port Adelaide as we do in GFG. And no doubt we're going to enjoy a very exciting journey over the coming years and be part of not only our growth at Port Adelaide, but also the growth of GFG and also, in particular, Whyalla. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now the AFL General Manager of Inclusion and Social Policy, please make welcome to the stage, Tanya Hosh. Well, I just found out her husband barracks for Port Adelaide.
Thanks for that, but in case anyone's wondering, my husband's not my most defining feature. I'm the General Manager for Inclusion and Social Policy at the AFL, and we're thrilled to be here today to, on behalf of the AFL, for me to just add our support for this wonderful partnership between a great football club with a really proud long history of community and connection and family, which obviously goes hand in hand with the philosophies and drivers of a great company like GFG. I just know that when values can come together from different parties, you can achieve magical things together. It's one of the things about Port Adelaide Football Club that sets it apart from some other clubs. I'm really fortunate in my role to get some really close insight into the great work of this club, particularly the work driven by Paul Vandenberg and the Aboriginal Programs team. It's just outstanding work, and they continue to grow in success. You know, at the end of the day with football, we want to see winners and we want to see great success. And when it comes to business success, partnering with sports success, when both of those groups are invested in success for community and for individuals in our community to do well and to prosper, that's a very significant thing that we should be acknowledging. Sometimes we forget about the impact that sport can have in the lives and well-being of people, but you see that lived out in Port Adelaide Football Club, and obviously it's an important value and part of the philosophy of this great company, GFG. In relation to the JLT game, we know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's a commitment to do the work to upgrade facilities in Whyalla, and I don't see the AFL standing in anyone's way to see a successful JLT game held in Whyalla with Port Adelaide Football Club next year.
Thank you, Tanya. And now to hear from the man himself, the chairman of GFG, Sanjeev Gupta.
You know, when Koshi first came to me last year saying that GFG should become a part of your club and should sponsor the club, my first reaction was that this is not what we do. We've never got involved in sport. We've never got involved in sporting sponsorships. We're a hard-working industrial group, and you know it just doesn't come naturally. But Koshi, as you all know, is a very persistent man. So he kept at it. We had several meetings, several discussions, and he proved to me convincingly how all of GFG's values, all of my family values, were closely aligned to your values. So you know, sport, of course, in itself is ultimate symbol and ultimate measure or mirror for human endeavor, which is the same as I believe to be the case in industry. So hard work, ambition, the desire to grow, the desire to evolve, to go against odds, to persevere, to endeavor, those are the basic values of sport, and those are the basic values of industry and of course of GFG. So that part was definitely a starting point. I came to a game, one of the late games last year. I believe it was a game against North. Yes, so it was a great game. You won, and the spirit was incredible. It was infectious. I could see how passionate everybody in the club was about the sport, and then that led me to look into it more. I found out, and Koshi explained to me how deeply ingrained this club is in community and in the, whether it's industries or ports or other industries, how industry basically has been so closely associated with the club, and what history it has also in Whyalla and in other working towns like this. And slowly, over time, I was convinced that this association is something which is very closely allied to our values of family, community, and our belief that family and community are a key ingredient in building industry. Industry is not something for the faint-hearted. It takes long term and perseverance. It's basically, it's a struggle constantly, and for me, it's a definition of life. Life is about struggle, constant evolution, and industry epitomizes that, and your club also epitomizes that. The other point is it reflects in terms of our other ambition. My other ambition through my foundation is to seed the next generation, my children's generation, in terms of bringing them into industry. And again, the involvement the club has with children and with other communities, indigenous communities and so on, was a great part of our decision-making process. But I will again stress, this is not a corporate sponsorship. Actually, the sponsorship is done by me personally, not by my company. And it is my investment in community, and my belief that I have to invest in community as much as I have to invest in industry. And it's my gratitude, let's say. I have only been in Australia for a year and a half, but the love, the acceptance, the welcome, and the opportunities which I've been given to take disruptive decisions, to invest in different parts of our different industries, that acceptance, that love, I wanted to sort of give something back and say thank you. So I will end with saying that I am very grateful for what acceptance and what love and support I get, especially in South Australia, and I'm very grateful and very proud to be now part of your journey for years and years to come. Thank you very much.
Gupta, Ben from ABC News. Just wondering how you can justify investing in another venture when there's issues with payments in Whyalla.
Yeah, look, first of all, we already issued a letter to some of this issue came up a couple of days ago. What you have to work out is, first of all, that this business, when I bought it, had been through a few years of strife. So it hadn't evolved many of its systems. So we've inherited many legacy systems, number one. Secondly, the business has grown. If you look at the volumes of the business, we've grown 20–30% over the last years. So the combination of legacy systems and combined with the growth which pressures it puts has meant that sometimes we get behind the curve, but overall the business is growing, it's doing well. We have support from all our vendors. We have actually come up with a particular program which was going to be announced later, but this recent events have made us announce it earlier. We've come up with a special program which is specifically designed for small businesses, because we want our small vendors to be part of our success, even if they can't afford to be sometimes, if they can't afford to finance it, but they can offer a good product, a good service, we still want them to be part of that success. So this program, what is called an SCF or a supplier credit finance program, will allow them to be paid early while still allowing the company to get the full terms it needs for its own working capital cycle. So just to repeat that, legacy systems, which means, what does legacy system means? I know these are words, so perhaps good to explain that. What that means is, across our 200 sites, our 10 different systems, we have to collect money from all our customers, and we have to also collate payments due to all our suppliers. And that, keeping a pace with that, sometimes it's not as simple as it sounds. So our systems are being evolved. We have appointed new consultants to upgrade the systems. So a lot of money is being spent on this part of it. I mean, that's the other point. In general, if you talk about investment, apart from the acquisition, the group has invested inside the business over $400 million so far, with more than $200 million of that in Whyalla itself. So there is no question about the family's commitment, my commitment to invest in Whyalla and to invest in this business. I'm here with my family to invest. But there are pains sometimes in growth, but we are there to solve them, and we are solving them. And that's my commitment, that we will solve them.
Mr. Gupta, will staff be forced to take leave due to falling sales?
Sorry?
Will staff be forced to take leave due to falling sales?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. There's no question of falling sales. Our volumes are up year on year substantially and will continue to grow.
We've got a memo that shows that primary steel is losing $300,000 a day. Is that not the case?
So, as I said, business we bought has some of those businesses have challenges. Certainly, primary steel has always been the challenge. Everybody knows that. It was no secret when Whyalla was about to be closed down that it needed rescuing and it needed investment. Those investments, as I'm sure you're aware, were announced with great pride and great fanfare. Premier was there, Prime Minister was there, opposition leader was there. We've signed already investments of over $600 million in terms of a new rolling mill, various other investments in the plant. Without those investments, that plant cannot be profitable. But it is our responsibility, and we continue to bear that responsibility to run that business while we make those investments and make the business profitable. The fortunate thing is that all the other businesses are very profitable. So overall, the group is doing very well. Australia is in a privileged position. The market is in a privileged position. So we're enjoying that ride for sure. But we have to prepare ourselves for all outcomes, and which means making those investments. In the meantime, doing our best we can to make that business as sustainable as or as viable as possible. Even the steelworks have, in terms of their profitability, have come a long way. I'm not sure where your number came from. I can give you more data if you come back to us separately. Even the steelworks have come a long way compared to when we bought them in terms of their results. They still have a long way to go, and that's the journey which we're on, when we'll continue on.
How tough is the industry at the moment?
I mean, to be honest, the steel industry is not that tough at the moment. Steel industry is doing quite well globally. It has had, as with all commodities, it's had over the last few months a little bit of a drop. But fundamentally, if you compare where the market and the industry is today, where it was, let's say in 2015, when the real crisis was born, it's in a much better place. And we need to use this good time to make investments. And we are investing heavily. $400 million in just over a year. I don't think anybody would have expected that of us, but we are committed for the long term, and hence obviously we're investing for the long term.
Mr. Gupta, can you tell us how much you owe your suppliers in Whyalla?
Today is not about, you want to talk to me separately, come and talk to me separately. I'm here to celebrate a great moment about our investment, about my personal investment in this club. If you want to have these questions, I'm happy to answer them separately.
Mr. Gupta, can you understand from some people's perspective why, when you owe money to your suppliers, you've come here today and you've announced a sponsorship agreement?
If I can just...
No, I'll try. I won't answer. So look, first of all... No, it's okay, it's fine.
What do you say to them?
I'm answering your question, mate. So the business does billions of dollars. It's doing well. It's all the suppliers are doing well. They're getting paid. You're talking about, the quantum of issues which you're talking about is relatively not unimportant, because some of these suppliers are small suppliers. That's why it's important to me. Otherwise, the quantum is actually, everybody's getting, the wheel's turning well, everybody's getting paid. It's not an issue. Nobody's behind by weeks or months. What is behind is days and sometimes a few weeks, and it's largely because of our systems issues which we're addressing, and we're growing resource. We're investing more money, and we're also setting up our SCF program. So all the right things are being done. The only reason why I'm sensitive to the question is because some of the suppliers are small, and I feel for them. That's the only reason. Otherwise, the journey which Liberty One Steel is on, or GFG is on, all its vendors are happy with it, and they're enjoying the journey with us together.
Sorry, I just got one more, thank you. Can you, last question, can you guarantee those suppliers will be paid back in as soon as possible?
1,000%. I mean, it's not even a question. 1,000%. It's not like it's not a static situation, mate. They supply every month, they get paid. The supply continues. It's a relationship, a symbiotic, joint relationship. I don't think it's about one time.
And last thing, why Port Adelaide?
I think I sort of addressed that, but if you want me to repeat, I will. I believe Port Adelaide is aligned to our values. Our values of family, of community, of struggle, of growing. All those values are same as GFG's. That's why.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps to both of you, can you monetize the agreement that you've made? Is there a figure? I can't. Can you quantify the financial agreement that you've just made? How much is GFG putting into the club?
It's not GFG, first of all, as I said very clearly. It's me personally, and it's my personal business.
Yep. Are you able to provide details on that?
I don't see how it's relevant to provide it to you. It's my personal investment, personal decision.
Sure. Thank you.
Sanjeev, how are you doing? I thought it might just be a good opportunity to share some of the work that the City Council and GFG are looking to work together on around the facilities that we're looking to provide in Whyalla. I just thought it might just be share that with the crowd.
Yeah, so my strong belief, and this partly goes to answer the earlier question as well, my strong belief is that you can't invest in industry without investing in community, because industrial processes and industries, their biggest asset is its people, because it's largely basically, they're large employers, and those employees basically make the business successful and thrive. We need in Whyalla a new generation of people as we grow the business, as we make these investments which I outlined. It means it will be new processes, new skills required, new employment required. And to do that, we want to make Whyalla a great place, an attractive place to live in, and for it to be an attractive destination rather than just about the work. So we have a program which is an ongoing. It's not one stop. It's an ongoing program which is about trying to see what that is. Where should we invest? We want to invest in some of the cultural initiatives. We want to invest in F&B. So we invested, for example, in the new jetty, which will hopefully house also a first-class restaurant soon. We want to invest in sport, because we feel that's a core part of communal development. And in that, when this proposition came, one of the things which I asked for is that, what can we do for Whyalla? And together with the council, and the club and the AFL, we said we want to encourage, and we want to host a game there. The stadium there at the moment is not up to scratch, so the council has agreed to work closely with us with a commitment to try and upgrade to upgrade the oval, to upgrade the oval, so that next year a pre-season game can be played there. The club is going to increase its initiative in terms of the programs, the training programs they do there, the recruitment programs they do there. The Indigenous program is going to be upgraded. So whatever is possible for the club and the council to do to promote the sport in Whyalla, we will support as well.
Any more questions from the floor? Beautifully done. Well done. Thank you very much. Give these guys a big hand for answering all the questions.